Hi, my name is Sally Bernard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery, and with the help of my spirit guides, it's time to trust your intuition. Sit with me and call in live 888-994-4995 Studio A. And now onto the show. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. We have a beautiful audience here today. Two lovely ladies, Dawn and Elisa. I always get Elisa, nearly right. So I'm going to have a lot of lovely questions thrown at me, and I love that. Anybody that's listening, please call in if you have a question, especially if you've got my book. Ask me any question that you feel you'd like to know more of in my book. 888-994-4995 Studio A. I got that right, Dawn, I think. Good. Okay. I'm going to open up with my prose, which I've done periodically on the show, and I asked you to give me a number, and I always feel that it's the right message on the page that you gave me. I'm going to read it. The number you gave me, I'm going to read. It's called Another Great and Beautiful Day. How beautiful to start the way that we're starting, right? Let us give thanks as we wake. What lies ahead? Give thanks, my child. We are blessed. What more do we need? Maybe we cannot see. Maybe we cannot hear. Maybe we are frail. It is all but a miracle. We are here. We are born. What a joy. Look to this day with hope, with joy, with awareness. What a blessing. Look up beyond the stars and give thanks. There is so much that lies ahead. Do not give up on this journey. Learn, think, see, look around you. Help those who need you. They are crying out, listen, listen, listen. And of course I signed it Zena. That's why my show is called Call Me Zena. So I'm going to ask either one of you, please ask me a question. You know that I like to have questions, and that's how I kind of work that way.
Well, I find that so interesting because we were just talking about 2 seconds before you went on air on helping others who ask the questions but maybe don't know to ask the questions.
Right.
They don't know that they're there, but sometimes your message brings up the messages.
It makes us more aware, I think, Dawn, you know, and if I can bring that out, and then suddenly I believe that's the vibrational energy spreading, but already we had started before the show started, so I think that's why it was appropriate.
Because we were just talking, Elisa has a mic also, about the space that I feel for her, and then you bring this up, and certain times we don't know what our calling is until others come forward and they need things.
Right, which I often, I call that our passion. It's there. Let's say the fire is there inside of us, but we don't always know what it's all about. And it may take somebody else to bring that out. And then it was with my art. Actually, it took a guide of mine, somebody to tell me that I could paint. I was in my early 60s when I started to paint. I never thought that I would, so I had gone through a lot of my life without ever picking up a paintbrush. But when I started, I couldn't stop. And even to today, I've taken a break now a little bit, but I'm still painting a little bit, not nearly as much as I was, but it's my passion, but so is here and giving my word out my passion too.
Beautiful. I just want to tie in what you just read, because I think that one of the most important lessons in our human experience is gratitude. And when you read that, I thought, oh my goodness, we all have obstacles in our day, and yet when you start just being in gratitude, whatever it might be, even for those obstacles, it just, I think that's all our lesson is supposed to be.
I think so, and that gratitude leads to so many other things. It flows, and you become aware of the gratitude, which is very important, because I think you have to be aware at that point that whatever it is you're meant to do, give gratitude for it, which I do, and then things fall in place when you follow your passion. Absolutely, it does. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think our calling changes?
It depends. That's on us. I think we always have a calling, or maybe a few callings. I mean, I wasn't aware of that, and I was completely in a different type of, what I was doing was nothing to do with what I'm doing today over the last 20-something years. So maybe I had a calling in the beginning. I was actually in sales, and I was okay with doing that. But when this other calling took over, which I call it certainly did, it took over my life, I could no way go back to my old life. Already now my passion was something different. So we all have a calling, but then it could be several callings, right? I really don't know the answer to that. I believe if you're happy with what you're doing and you are, I'm going to say successful, well, success comes in many different ways, but if you're content and you have gratitude for what you're able to have, I think, yes, we follow our passion and we will succeed.
A lot of different things. And I know you wanted to bring up all these new disclosures that are coming out this past week. We've got the assassination paperwork are supposed to be being released in the middle of February, JFK, Robert Kennedy,
right.
MLK. Alien disclosure they're talking about. Why suddenly now, and do you really think we're going to get the information we need?
Personally, yes, I do. I mean, it's taken a long time, but I feel that, and I actually turned the television on the other day, and they were saying that by someone that I actually had heard that he understood this, and he felt that the disclosure would be at the end of this month, in January. I can't put a date on it, but I felt pretty comfortable with the fact that we are going to hear more, and I think it's needed, because I personally do believe that we are going to have disclosure soon, and we don't want to scare everybody, so the more that they can do it little by little, so to speak, people will be more aware. I even seen TV commercials now with aliens on them. So it's just these little subtle things that they're going to think, well, maybe there is something. I think there is definitely a change coming, absolutely.
What do they tell you? What are the aliens? You travel, you
I do.
transport.
Yeah.
Have they said anything to you recently as if this
Well-
is our message, this is what we want to achieve? Do you
I
get
think
intel?
they're intervening more than they ever have. I had gone quite a while, but and it's known that I have been abducted because I have said it on my show. I don't talk very often about it. But I went through a period of quite a little while that nothing was happening, or nothing that I could remember. But the last couple of months, I've had some amazing experiences again, which I'm writing, well, I'm not necessarily writing about, they are in my memory, because I think they want, not me, there are many people that are coming out with this, and I think it's good that they're coming now. They're coming to, we need peace. We need peace. And I think not all the aliens are good, let's say, but the ones that are, and there are many, are watching us, and we're going a little crazy here on Earth, and they're trying to protect us and to give us some messages.
So you think it's more messages of protection and intervening for world peace as opposed to disrupting?
I believe and think that it's more for world peace. And I do believe there are other aliens out there, not to mention any specific race. It's okay, it doesn't matter, just like anything else.
Well, they're green or blue or purple, so they've got their own race. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of them out there. There are ones that don't want necessarily for us to have world peace. Aldo, my guide, used to say to me, divide and conquer, and they're the ones that are trying to divide and conquer us. But I think the majority of them are wanting, they're watching us. Otherwise, we're going to have a lot of problems if they don't intervene, in my opinion, anyway.
Is there a way to differentiate? How can we tell?
By what's going on in the world, truthfully, because if you don't, if the let's say the bad and the good, the light and the dark, it doesn't matter just to know there are two. We've got to create a balance, and I've talked about this before. If the dark take over, we don't want any one side to be tilted. We need that balance. So, do we need the darker side? Yeah, in order to know from the right side. It's a fine balance, but we need to find that balance. And I feel that the majority in this particular case are the good ones, that because if we, and I don't want to be the voice of doom here, let's say we blow ourselves up, hopefully that will never happen. What happens, and I wrote this in 2006, I believe, in my book, we're in a, like the universe will suffer because whatever happens, how we blow ourselves up is not a good thing. They not only want to protect us, they want to protect themselves too.
Is that what you think the historical reluctance is of people, of the government wanting to share what they know?
I think so. I believe, again, this is just me saying that, and I don't get into politics, and there's certain things that I don't particularly want to touch. I may have my point of view, but that's for me right now. But give me the question again, I'm sorry.
The historical relevance of so many things being swept under the rugs, the assassinations and the aliens.
Okay, yes, to actually, the most important thing right now, I truly believe, is the truth to come out. There's been a lot of things that have been hidden in the governments, in many, many ways. And I was having this conversation yesterday with Steve, actually. However it comes out, it needs to come out, whether it's good or bad. We have to know the truth, because I don't believe that we will achieve what we want to achieve unless we really know what is happening. And it's not always a good, but it needs to come out. So that if it's something bad, we need to correct it. So some of the things that have been like undercover and they haven't talked about, let's know what it is so that we know what we're actually facing here. Especially, I believe, with the aliens, you know, with UFOs. Not everybody is going to believe that. No, I didn't until all this happened to me. But if they're out there, which I obviously believe that they are, of course they are, in my opinion, and the people that believe that are 100% that they are out there, we need that to be disclosed. If it's proven and we've actually got aliens that are here, let's know about it. Don't cover it up. And, you know, there might be people saying, they're probably not on my show because they probably understand where I'm coming from, but there are people there, you're crazy, you're nuts. We don't need to know even if they are here. Yes, we do need to know. We need the truth.
What do you think public opinion's going to be? You think their belief systems will change?
In time, Dawn, I don't think it's going to happen all at once, because there is what we call, and I now know, a soft disclosure or closure, a disclosure. The soft disclosure is what they're actually doing now, and they are introducing it even on TV ads. You know, it's very subtle, but if they didn't exist at all, they're suddenly coming out with so much more. And this is very important because people are coming accustomed to, maybe there is something out there, maybe this happened. I was abducted. I didn't even know I was being abducted in the very beginning. I just knew I was on some sort of a vehicle and they're talking to me. I had never really knew anything about abductions at that point. This is a long time ago. And it's only over the last few years I realized, how was I on a spacecraft? How was I going to other planets? And they're talking to me. I was astral projecting, but then I suddenly realized, if I'm astral projecting, what am I doing in a craft? And I myself realized that it was very real to me. Very real.
Every time you astral project, you go to another planet, you're in a ship. Can people astral project within different lifetimes, or is it always
Well, I believe
alien-based?
you can, but I don't know if that's going to happen with. I didn't go back into other lifetimes. There is a name for that too, because everything is actually happening all at once. So you choose. But as far as I know from my own experiences with astral projecting, I was going to different places. I was very aware of it. It seemed like I had a mission to find out about the aliens, actually. I'm just realizing that right now, because it holds my interest. Anything that is talked about, definitely I want to hear more.
But before you actually had the actual experience, did you, like when you were growing up, did you think that there was another life being outside of our planet?
Well, actually, that's a really good question, because as a child, yeah, I had experienced many things, but I wasn't aware that everybody else didn't do that, or they might not understand. So I didn't think I'm not different, because we can all do this, but I didn't think I was having anything different experiences to anybody else. It was only later on that and it wasn't alien abductions that I was into. It was being more psychic, that I could see things or have see what might be happening in the future, that I thought, well, doesn't everybody do that? We all do believe that. I truly believe that we're all psychic. We just haven't opened up to it, which I didn't. I just assumed everybody else was the same way. But when I started to talk about it sometimes to people, they go, you did what? Or you said that? And I thought, well, something's going on. I'm not quite the same. So
Right. Is there a way that other people can open up and...
yes, and I love that question too, because that's my message for people, basically, to open up to this. Just know that there's something beyond what we see here. There's so much more, and what I call the unknown, because it is unknown, but we're trying to make it known, so there won't be an unknown. That makes sense.
And I remember growing up always knowing that there that it's sort of egocentric of us to think we're the only ones here, and yet I don't think I want the experience. I really
Well,
commend you that
that's
you
going to
did.
stop you. I do. This is I figured out, because if you're frightened of something, it's going to stop this from happening to you. But if you're open-minded, you don't say, bring it on, I want to see everybody. I'm not suggesting that you do that. But if you can say, I don't have fear. I mean, I've had some pretty crazy things happen to me, but I honestly, crazy, they're like, what do you mean crazy? But I will open up to anything. I say to myself, I'm not scared, because I had a pretty strange experience the other night. And I said, no, I'm not scared. This is okay. Continue with this. And then the following night, actually, after I had one experience the other night, I suddenly see flashing lights outside my window. I woke up and I said, I have to get out of bed to see if there's anything there. There was nothing there. The lights, as I opened the blinds, completely went black. So I knew that
So
they're
it was
still
the
trying.
visitor. It was the
Yes,
visitors you had.
And Steve, my husband, is very well aware of this now. He keeps saying, why is it not happening to me? Which I did. But yeah, it's because I'm aware of it.
Okay, so if that should happen to us, like what are your thoughts when that's happening to you? Are you totally open, or are you like praying that you're going to be
No,
okay? No.
they know that they can talk to me now.
Oh,
So
okay.
I do know that one message that I had a little while ago, and I won't go into the whole story, but I woke up at 2 a.m, which, we hopefully go back to sleep, but something said, turn your TV on. Why should I turn my television on? But I listened, and I had it on very low because I wanted to go back to sleep, which I did. And I had a pretty, I'm not going to say scary experience, but had I have woken up without light in my room, I would have been scared. But they knew that, so I had the TV light. I didn't bother the messages that they were giving me, but when I came around again, and I was slightly paralyzed, so I know it was actually an experience because I couldn't even talk at that point until I was okay. But the lights in the room helped me very much, which was the TV.
That's amazing. But you were not afraid.
No, I am not afraid today.
That's
And
just
I'll say that.
amazing.
No, I am not afraid. I've had too much happen to me. I've seen so much today. I'm not expecting everybody to be the way I am, because it's good also to have fear sometimes of certain things. But as far as this goes, no. I've had too many experiences, and anybody that it happens to, it's not just about me. It happens to many people. I've got gratitude for that, actually. Really
Okay.
got gratitude.
There we go. Back to the gratitude.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm happy.
How do we hold gratitude for, back to the dust? Just things in life that are chaotic, or when you're at work and things are just crazy, or someone's ill. How do you go back to gratitude?
The thing is, it's all part of life, Dawn. We're not alone when these things happen. And that saying, this too shall pass, that's what they're telling me. This too shall pass. It's how we handle it when we're going through it that's very important. And obviously, if it's something really bad, it's hard to handle it. But just say to yourself, and they're saying this very loud to me, this too shall pass. And also in the realm of things, no matter what it is it that important? Because from day to day we change our attitude, we change many things. So while we're going through something, just go through it the best you can and know that it will change. Well, it'll change if you know that. It's not going to change if you continue with it. So that they're telling me to say that too, which is very true, right?
And back to people writing in, what role do you think the scientific community plays in analyzing and sharing the information?
Well, I understand that as a society, as a race, anything that we're not familiar with, we either don't believe it or we're very scared of it, correct? And I think that's what they're saying. So they're having to do this disclosure, going back to the aliens, in a way, which I think I had said, gradually. Because if you suddenly, or even opening the files on the assassinations, we've known about this for 25 years, that they have had files. I do believe, and someone told me in February the 15th, I think I'm correct, that they will open the files. Now, Steve kind of said, well, there's no point in doing that. This is my husband said. I said, no, I believe there is a point in doing that. Good or bad or whatever they find, the truth will prevail. We need the truth. If we don't like it, we don't like it. At least we know what we're up against. So I feel very strongly about all these things, and I'm glad that it's happening. I'm glad that there are files that they will open. It may be 25 years on, but that's all right.
And you see other people can travel.
Yeah,
People can travel, you can, I don't mean like getting on an airplane, but actually different places you can go, whether it be past lives, whether you go to, I've never traveled to another planet. I know I traveled to past lives.
Yeah.
I know there's themes within my dreams that I've told you, I always back to that ssame type of feeling of what it
absolutely.
is.
Yeah, anybody can do this because there is what they call an astral plane. So on that plane, I do believe that, I'm not sure, I mean, I've had no validation that everybody goes there, but I believe that we all do go there in our sleep. We just don't remember, not all the time maybe. I was lucky enough to start remembering a lot, and I was lucky enough to have a guide with me here on Earth, which you're reading my book, is Adamir in my book. And he was very, very helpful, but that wasn't coincidence because he had been looking for me since he was a child, and he met me very later on in life. He couldn't introduce himself to me until I was ready, and obviously I wasn't ready in the beginning or middle part of my life. And when I was, he was right there beside me.
So callings, I guess, change based on how we go through life, because where you are now, where I am, is not where I was when I was 15, 25, even 45, when I started doing this.
Right. Well, yes, because we change in our lives too. I mean, there are many children coming in today, I do believe, and they call them light workers, where they come in with memory. But you know, life takes its toll on us, and as we grow up, and I don't believe it's going to happen nearly as much now because there are so many adults, let's say, that are really ready now to maybe listen to their children when they talk about you're not my mummy, or you were my mummy, or you were my daddy. At one point, they were saying, don't ever say that again. But I've spoken to quite a few people now that are ready to listen to their children. Maybe there was another mummy in their life from another lifetime ago, or daddy, whatever it be. Because we play many different roles here. And it's coming much more, people are coming much more aware of all this today. And it's important. It's important for the kids coming in that have chosen to be born in this particular time, because this particular time will eventually make history. We're on the verge of a complete shift.
I was going to ask you, do you
I'm getting
sort of
goosebumps.
do you sort of have this prophetic vision of where we're at or where we're going or what's happening?
Yeah, I believe that the world is changing and we're changing along with it. And they call it a shift. And this is the time that it's taking place. And that's why the time will be of disclosure of all the things that have been hidden, because our vibrational energy is lifting. And not, if you're not aware of it and you're closed-minded, and that's okay, that's what you've chosen. You're not going to feel it as much as someone that can feel it, that is touch spirituality. And it's really, really important right now because we want to, the world is in chaos. We want to continue. Let's do something. We need change. So yes, I feel it very much. Even as I was just saying that, they call my goosebumps, you know about that. I got goosebumps. We're changing. We're definitely changing.
Yeah. The dust is really being driven up.
Yeah,
it's
dust.
really it is a very chaotic time, and I do feel very excited about it.
Well,
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I was going to say that because just now, I mean, we only met last week, and
Yes.
here we're talking, and that's happened with quite a lot of people, which you can attest to, Dawn, that come into the studio that are so ready to not just my show, but everything that's going on, so ready to now figure it out, so to speak. It doesn't
Right.
happen overnight. It takes an open mind, and it takes listening. It takes sinking in your mind. But if you do that, and you really are not, you know, I'd say don't have fear, don't be scared. You'll get so many amazing things happen to you.
And so what is the secret to not being scared? Right?
Tell yourself you're not. But the secret is by accepting. Say, even if you just say to yourself, I mean, probably I was scared as a child too. And it's natural because that's what we are.
Unknown, yeah.
But just say to yourself, okay, can I research more or listen more? And let's just try to be kind to each other. Because when I listen to the news, and it's not, you know, many people that understand the way that I do don't listen to the news at all, and that's okay too. But I like to know a little bit about what's going on in the world, because someone can say even as simple, well, not simple, there's an earthquake. I don't want to say where was the earthquake, whatever it be. So I believe that I myself personally have chosen to listen to news, not that much, but I do, and there are many people that don't. So.
But I guess there's different levels of being fearful or scared.
Yeah.
Like there's the personal side, you're fearful of changing your job, of changing your calling, of stepping out into the public eye. Then there's the fear of global changes, whether it be climate change or politically what's happening. So there's different levels of fear.
Because we're stepping into the unknown again, even as simple as taking another job. But if you don't do it or you don't open up to it, you know, if you feel really uncomfortable, our gut tells us a lot, actually. And if you're doing something that you really don't want to know, then research it a little more. Maybe it isn't for you. But when you're on the right track, and I always say follow your passion, and you feel happy about it, continue that way, and a lot of that fear will go. Obviously it will if it's going your way. So the fear stops a lot of the good coming to you, actually. Doesn't matter what it is. I mean, probably when I picked up a paintbrush, I said to myself, well, I can't paint, but they gave me a message, and suddenly I'm painting things from other lifetimes. If I hadn't have taken that move, I would never have known.
And as I'm listening to you, Sally, I'm thinking that your role, and maybe a little bit of what I'm feeling for myself too, is to help others get prepared for this new, if we call it awakening, or this new wonderful, I know some people call it new age, and it truly is. It's a time when we really can start to feel love and compassion and true oneness with each other.
I absolutely 100% agree with you. Look at the three of us here. We're sitting here having this conversation. I mean, I met Dawn by walking into the cafe, and we had so much to share. I only met you like a week ago, right? But right away we had a lot to share. And that's happened many times here. I believe the meeting place is here.
The vortex.
The
It's a
vortex. Yeah,
for
there
sure,
possibly
Dawn.
could be a vortex right here, because we've attracted, not me, you know, I also for sure I had something to do with it here, some amazing things. Amazing. And I've met people here that I've related to so much, and I couldn't wait to see them again, but they never came back. But they'd already done, not because they disliked it here, but they just maybe
They
had
did their
said
job.
what they did their job. Yeah, I don't want to, because this place is amazing. Okay, that I have to say.
And then people come back, like we met your daughter 7 years ago. And I think back to now how young she was then, to have met her 7 years ago, where she was in life and where she is now, still incredibly young, but incredibly powerful, and has stepped into her power as a networker and a community leader. And she's still young, and she comes in with this whirlwind of energy, and just consider the change, and yet we have now changed because she's come forward. But we've known her for years, and change is good, but to watch her grow is amazing as well. And now here you sit.
I think the timing is important, although there is no time, which you had said to me, there isn't. But in our lifetime here, we have time because we've made time. And in space, there's no time, and we know that. But we have more structure here. So in order to get through this, but I'm sure that when we come in and we decide what we're going to do before we come in, I'm certain of that, we have to have a certain point in time, not necessarily stick to the age, but we know that that's going to be our calling. And it could be as a child. A lot of people now have children that are not just remembering past lives, that are very, very talented, that I believe is left over from a child of 5 is singing an adult song. How can they possibly know all the things that are going to happen? But they do, and they come out with very good voices and songs.
Want to take a commercial break?
Yes, we'll come back on the other side of this show. That's my theme right now. I always say on the other side. See. My story starts at 4 or 5 years old. My name is Sally Bernard, and I was born at the end of the Second World War, in the middle of an air raid siren going off. My parents were in a movie theater, and my mother went into labor. My father ran out of the movie theater, but there was no cabs to be available because everybody is running for cover. However, they found one, and the taxi driver was given the address to take my father and my mother to the hospital. As my mother was in labor, about a half an hour, I arrived at exactly midnight. I think I was fed messages at a very early age. My parents used to like to play cards, and they had a card game every Wednesday or Thursday night at home when I was a baby. And I actually said to them one day, why do you keep waking me up at night? The card game is waking me up and I can't get back to sleep so quickly. And they looked at each other and they said, we're not really waking her up. They were quite away from my bedroom. And they called in a psychic to say, what in the world is going on? And the psychic said that I'm getting many messages that are waking me up at night. I thought whatever I was experiencing, other people were experiencing too. You don't know until you realize that you are different. Many things were happening to me, things that were unexplainable to me. What I had dreamt was happening. I could sense many things, and the things that I was sensing were coming about, but something was going on. I will explain to you everything. You're ready.
A true story, Call Me Zena, is the telling of Sally Bernard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came into the U.S. in 1979. A mother of 2 and a grandmother of 4, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the 3rd dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest into art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed a paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she is able to astral a project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life and direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today, authorhouse.com and amazon.com.
Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Bernard, and you can find my book at authorhouse and amazon.com or visit my art on my clothing in my boutique at artbysallybernard.com. Now back to the show. Welcome back, everybody. I do appreciate my audience. So on with the show.
Sally, tell us about your art on clothing.
Yeah, that's something that came to me a couple of years ago, but unfortunately I had a lot in my life at that time that I really couldn't pursue it more, but it's coming out in a couple of weeks. And I love it. It's like my little baby that I've suddenly decided to do this and I can't stop thinking about it. So although I'm advertising some of it here, but it's going to take a totally different look. And I'm happy about it. This was a passion that I had also later on in my life. My art was, but now it's turned into art on clothing.
But what's that like for you? Because we met you a few years ago, and you had this book, and then now you're doing a second book and a movie and art on clothing. It doesn't matter what age you are.
No,
you
that's my message.
You keep going and
because
creating.
That's my message, Dawn. I can't ever see myself stopping. I mean, yeah, there's times that I'm saying, gravity's taking hold here. I'm a little tired sometimes and I have to go to bed a little earlier. But if I woke up in the morning with I'm here so much too, it gives me a feeling of, it's not even satisfaction, it's gratitude that I'm able to do this, because if this had not have been in my life at this point, I wouldn't have been following my passion, and I feel very much that I am. I say to myself, I'm sorry I didn't start this earlier in life. I'm on your shows quite a bit about different topics. I love it. This is what keeps me going, all the feeling of the passion. So
do you think Aldo was sent for a reason?
Oh, 100%, absolutely. Unfortunately, in my biggest regret, we can't do anything about it, however he is watching the show, but from a different planet or a different dimension, that you didn't meet him. And there has to be a reason why, because I was meant to come, which we've brought up many times, about 4 or 5 years ago to the studio, and I didn't. But I know he's here. You feel, oh my gosh, I'm getting my goosebumps. So, yes. And he's leading me on. He's leading me, telling me to do this. People might say, why are you doing it? You could just be doing this, just sitting? Well, I don't want to do that. I mean, I like to sit. I like to do my shows.
But you feel you've been chosen. I go back to this all the time because I don't think everyone gets the gift, I call them walking guides, of a walking guardian angel. We all have them. but to actually see them and talk to them or yell at them or whatever be roommates with them.
Yeah, we had a roommate that I yelled at sometimes, for sure.
But I feel like, do you ever feel like you were chosen in a good way to receive this gift?
I do. I don't often say, like I was chosen to do this or that, because I believe we all can. And, I try to not get into ego at all, because I don't think it's a good thing for me. But the thing is, I think that I was chosen by him to do this. And he made me very aware of that. So yes, do we all have walking guides? No, we don't. This was a little different. I'm sure people do, and we have people that we can talk to, and and I want to learn more. I want to meet somebody again like Aldo, because I'm at a level now that I love this level, but I want to learn all the time. I'm nowhere near understanding this. I'm just starting my journey. And I never want to stop. And I think once you start following that path, this is the feeling that we get, because it's hard to actually have, quote, a normal conversation today unless it's a little bit more at depth. Because although I am here and I do watch TV and I do watch movies, but my passion is what I'm doing.
So I was listening to an interview this morning that Steven Spielberg told Drew Barrymore, because she was the beginning of E.T.
I saw
that there will never be a sequel to E.T. Based on what he does. He will never do a E.T. second.
But he came up with wanting to do, someone said, why don't you do the planet or something that E.T.
So he
was
said
from.
it would be, right, if it would have been called The Green Planet, E.T.'s planet. So I think he must be some sort of receive this message that either he should or he shouldn't do it, but that was his choice. But to do it based on this green planet, which takes me back to your traveling.
Right, and when I heard that, I automatically in my mind said, well, do it, or somebody else come up with it, because that would be amazing. E.T. was such a success. And now they're showing commercials of E.T. I mean, they're bringing it forward. Why are they suddenly bringing this all forward?
You tell me.
I feel that disclosure is very close, very close.
And like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, he did that. He produced that as well.
And he made some unbelievable movies, actually, that they are unbelievable, but they're believable, and he's very talented, and I think that his purpose in this lifetime was to do exactly what he's doing. I'm sure he's saying that too. He's been doing that for a long time.
And that he's being guided, right? He's being communication.
Yes.
And
a lot, especially, I don't know so much about him, but I know that he's being guided, but a lot of this technology, some of the scientists and we've come a long way. Let's just take 50 years. Without help, realistically, if you take the years prior to that, not going way back because they did have this technology, but let's say what we might know, or someone who's 100 or whatever can talk about how far they had come. They didn't come as far, I believe, in those first 50 years. But the other half of this, we've come a long, long way. And I truly, with my belief system, is that we're being helped. People that can do this, they're picking out. Think of the iPhone. We talked about just the phone. Even to have your picture on a phone, let alone be able to do what we're doing, it's incredible. As you talk, you can see the other person. That's not always a good thing, but it's there. We can turn that off and not do FaceTime, right?
And how do people get your book? Because your book talks a lot about your traveling, places you've gone, what you've seen, your visions.
Right. Well, they can go on Amazon or authorhouse.com, go into my website. I am actually redoing my website, but it's still available by artbysallybernard.com. My book is there. It's also on Amazon, and also my publishers, Author House. And I'm finding so much more interest today that I'm coming forward with my book now, as you just mentioned to me too, because now is the time. If not now, I can't wait another 20 years. So I need to put this out today for people that are interested, and there will be a sequel too, and hopefully a movie that's in the making, so we'll see.
Do you think that when this disclosure comes out, historical evidence like the pyramids or Stonehenge, Atlantis,
Yeah.
do you think it's going to change people's perceptions or knowledge of what was, because now you're talking, if we change the pyramid story, you're changing biblical of the Jews being slaves in Egypt and building the pyramids. Do you
Right.
think it's going to change what comes forward?
It's gonna, make people more aware and more into wanting to understand more, because we go back a certain amount of time from when the world began, but a lot of this is history from thousands and thousands of years
You
ago.
could change biblical times, right?
Well,
That goes back that far.
Yes, but there's many ways, which I was talking to someone the other day about this, how we see the Bible itself. There's many, depending on your belief system and depending how we interpret it. It's where we're coming from. And there's so many ways to look at that. So we see what we're meant to see when we're meant to see it. That just came to me too. That's important. We see what we see when we're meant to see it. I like that.
It's like the veil being lifted.
Yes,
Yeah.
and when we're ready, because if you suddenly started to give different stories, the Bible is the Bible. And I in my belief, I believe it's taken from fact. However, they've left a lot out, and we can interpret it a different. I think these things happened, but there's many ways of looking at these things, and they've left. And I think that's known that they left part of the Bible out, correct? Because there's a lot of secrecy attached to all of this. Let's start telling what is, right? It's important. It has to start with one person, with the next, and hopefully my show is doing a little bit of that, you know. Question what you see. There's nothing wrong in questioning. Do your own research. There's nothing wrong with that. And then interpret it the way that you feel is best for yourself. What I might interpret could be a completely different way from what you have interpreted. But if we can get together and discuss it, there's a great discussion on many things, and the truth will prevail. I like that. The truth will prevail.
Interesting. Now, what guardians? We've done a lot of changes in here.
Yeah,
Which
have,
means we're
and
shifting energies and different.
I think that's why I chose to come back on the seat
'Cause
that
you
I'm
know
very
it.
familiar with. I used to sit up on the stage there, but then I've been sitting here now for a long time on my show, over a year, well over a year. Change is good, but sometimes it can be a little traumatic, not dramatic, too. And I think that everybody coming in here that's used to a certain way of doing it is going to be changing, which is a good thing. But it can upset your balance.
The
so
dust
to speak.
needs to settle
The dust-
metaphorically as well.
The dust needs to settle.
Back in the dust.
The dust needs to settle. And I'm comfortable because I've been on this chair now for a long time, but maybe I wouldn't have been sitting up there again or wherever. So I know you gave me the option where to sit, and I did say here again. So
This is a nice set for the two of you to be sitting.
I like it. Yeah.
And what does Elizabeth have to say?
Change. In many ways, change. Don't be fearful of what's happening to you. I can feel it coming right through me right now. You can probably hear. Okay, you're encountering a lot of change, Dawn, but go with your gut. And this, maybe we can do it a little bit off the air here, but change is inevitable, okay? And good or bad, it's whatever is going to happen will happen. It's how you look at it. It's very important. Your attitude, which is going to be a lot here. Your what you want. Just ask her, and she's leading you, just like she's telling me that. You're very capable, and you do hear from her. And by the way, the fairies are real.
Thank you.
Okay, she just said that to lighten it up a little bit. Yeah, and I relate to that too.
Interesting. Hardest thing.
To change, or that the fairies are real.
Oh, the fairies I know are real.
We know that, but she
We know
wanted
the
to
fairies
just
are real.
validate that. Yeah.
To change is hard.
I think change in general is difficult. It's how we react to
How
it.
our perception of something. So every time something, or you feel a little bit like off balance, which we do with change, think to yourself the pros of that, actually, not so much the cons, because it's going to happen anyway. If you decide to change, even here, let's say you move the furniture there and it's okay and everybody likes it, but you may feel uncomfortable, it's going to happen no matter what. So try to let the dust settle and kind of say to yourself, okay, this is the way it's meant to be, and we'll accept that. Accept change, actually. Accept change, because without change we don't grow. That's
is true.
important too.
Definitely. And then again, listening to your gut about, is this change something that really is in my best interest, and right? So how do we always know that?
That's a good question too. I'm getting a lot of good questions. Change might be okay for 80 or 90% of the people in the room. You could be within that 10 or 20%. But however, if it's still going to happen, just go with the flow. because there isn't a lot you can do. Go with the flow. Because if everybody wants it and you're in the minority, what are you going to do? Can't help it. I mean, you can walk away from it, but that's always not in the best interest either, for whatever the situation.
But I think we adapt, and ultimately you realize change is good. When you look back at it,
It
you're
is.
like, because otherwise you would not grow. Otherwise, we'd all be stagnant in where we are. As hard as it is, maybe as fearful as we may feel.
You think about it, all through life we have changed, and for some reason clothing came to mind. We change our clothing, and I mean, obviously, but from century to year by year, the fashion comes in different. Yeah, there are reasons, because you're going to buy more clothes because it's fashionable, but I don't believe that's the only thing. That we change a lot all through our lives. We change our hair, we put different makeup on, because we need that change. Even if it's very subtle, it's still good. It makes you feel good sometimes. Oh, I'm wearing my makeup slightly differently. I feel good today, or I've got a different hairstyle. Now, it can go the other way, you don't like it, so you can go back to it, but at least you made the change.
I sort of think of it like a roller coaster, and that you can white knuckle the roller coaster, or you can throw your hands up and enjoy the ride. right?
Exactly,
And so,
exactly.
yeah, that's how I sort of.
that's
I don't
a
like
good
roller coasters, by
analogy.
the way.
No, I hate roller coasters, absolutely.
But I do like that about life, that
Yeah.
you just go with it.
Go with the flow.
What else are you thinking about aliens? What else do you see coming forward?
Well, it seems to me, I listen to Gaia TV a lot, or YouTube, and every time I turn it on, I think, what am I going to listen to? And it's certainly changed a lot in the last month or so. Mainly, I just keep listening about the aliens, and that vibrational energy is not just coming to me, it's coming to a lot of people. I'm showing it to myself and what I'm watching and what's happening to me. I think more and more people are becoming aware and accepting it. We are not alone. I'm absolutely certain. And this time next year, if I'm still, which hopefully I'm still doing the show and I have the same viewers that are listening now, tell me I was right.
Mindy says she loves the amazing artwork behind you. So maybe you can talk about your artwork a little bit.
Oh, thank you, Mindy. Okay, this actually, which we have discussed, is from the 15th century, I believe. And I never asked Aldo. I would say I feel that it is, and he would actually say to me yes. And this was various faces from where I was in that particular lifetime. And part of that lifetime is now history today. It is on the internet who I was, and I'm not really ready to share that. But I look at some of that, and it does look very familiar now, or even on the pictures of the internet of the certain people in history that were there, which I can see. And the other one is simply, that was, I think, done for my clothing on art.
But the detail of your artwork, Sally, is so remarkable. The lines that you've created, every line, every dot, is just amazing.
And the crazy part about this is, I don't know what I'm drawing. I never correct a line, ever. I mean, I don't have an eraser, and I'm doing it with paint. So it's not like I've gone back over it to do it. So I feel that I'm being led the same way that I am on my book or what I'm talking about. Because I have many pieces of art like that. And then the recent ones, I believe this one here, was perfect for my art on clothing. Because I thought, what am I doing? My style changes.
Your style changed.
But I was, absolutely, if I take a break for maybe 5 or 6 months, my artwork is totally different again. And I couldn't understand why I was doing this, but it looks great on my, which I'll have out soon on my
But it's
clothing.
definitely colorful. Are you
Yeah.
always colorful?
Always colorful. No, I've done black and whites,
Oh,
but
you
the
have?
design is very intricate with it. It's with a pen or something. I've done that, yes.
'Cause
And
I feel
love
like that one has eyes watching, and the one behind you has faces, and it's so
Yeah.
interesting. We've talked so many times that you and I have a past life connection.
Right, with this particular one.
And I always have collected faces, cameos in different faces. You know, everyone went through this, everyone's collecting skulls. I couldn't. I'm always
love
collecting
cameos, by
faces.
the way, too, yeah.
And then as things have progressed and I've met you and the things that I know, it makes more sense to me. Like this puzzle piece fits together as to why it's collecting faces. It's like collecting souls and people.
Exactly. And I think there was a purpose behind me doing that. I wasn't aware of it, but it opens up people's minds.
And I didn't
too.
even know you then.
No. Well, actually, one of the first things that you said when I brought some art in, I remember you said to me, but I've seen this art before.
I had a dream about
Yes, before I had met Dawn. When I brought pieces of art in, she'd already seen them. And I had never met her before, in this lifetime.
that. I know. And it wasn't even any of these, it was it was crazy.
Yeah, different
So certain
ones.
things we're connected with. So do you
Yeah.
believe our soul families travel with us to the next
100%.
lifetime?
They don't always incarnate the same time as us, but we always have the same. I'm sure we add to our soul family too, but although they would have come from another soul family. So I think maybe children that are coming in or whatever it is, their first lifetime here, we collect people from our soul families and they're with us all the time. Sometimes they stay behind on the other side because they feel they can help us more than they can here. But no one can tell me that Aldo wasn't part of my soul family too. I mean, he came in looking for me at a very early age, but he could have found me, but I wasn't ready. He was in Peru. Eventually, when I come here, he goes to the place that I'm working and never introduced himself for over a year till I had my first dream of the astral projection. The following day he comes up to me and explains to me his words where I know where you were last night, and explained my whole dream to me, every detail which I remembered. How is that possible? It would just say it cannot happen.
What do you think about hybrid? Here's a message for you, hybrid children.
I believe that there are many hybrid children here. When I say many, I can't go into the millions, but they come in specifically here to help us, or they're also on the other side of this, which is another whole subject that we can talk about maybe later on in another show. But they are born, and I believe they're taken away from us sometimes, and they're somewhere else. Hi, Freddie. Hello.
There was
Something
Are you
drew
a
you to
hybrid
come in
child?
here?
well, that's why I came out here, because I went across the campus, because there's no other way of doing it.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm trying. I was going to ask you about hybrid. Isn't the original name of that is Star Child?
Star children, yes, they are hybrid children, yes, because they come in knowing, but they know that they know. So they come in at birth, and they predict a lot of things, and they're very like wise old souls. Basically.
So my son Freddie, we used to produce a show. This is going back about 15 years ago, and there was this young lady who said to him, "You are a star child." And Freddie, we were driving home. And I guess it dawned on him, no pun intended, it dawned on him that she says, "I'm a star child, and there's something in your hand that you can see," and all this other stuff. And I never quite understood, what the hell does it mean? What does it mean to be a star child?
It means that you come in with a lot of knowing that you don't forget. They've come in here to help this planet, and now is the time to which we were discussing before, for them to realize the capabilities of what they're able to achieve here. A star child comes in for that sole purpose, basically, is to help
So
our
how do you
planet.
know a star child? Is she a star child?
I think each and every one of us here are, actually. We are older souls. But I'm going to say there's various degrees, because the ones that remember from birth don't usually forget, but they're here at the right time. They're coming in with a remembrance, which most of us don't have.
And
They're
what is the
coming in to
purpose?
spread. I was just going to say, give you an answer to that question, is to help people understand that there is so much more, to give your talents to the world, to talk about it, to say, don't be afraid. Exactly what the show was going through is coming from star seeds, actually, we can call them too, are here for that main purpose. And today, a lot of the children are not forgetting who they are. It's important. So your son, if he was given that message, I believe it's accurate. He's here to help society and the world today.
But that was according to her.
Well, it's an unusual thing really to say, unless you, can.
Well, she's assuming that she can see star child.
You know, it's funny. I just
And
something
there you
came
go.
to
Stop
me.
doing that.
I never thought about that.
That's what
But
she
you
says
know
to
what
the
I
right
feel?
hand, you can
It's
see
like
it.
a little,
No,
which
no.
I have actually. It's like a little, I don't know. This is just coming to me. I've never given it a thought. Like a little triangle thing. I don't know what she said he
That's
had in his
why the
hand.
triangle is on a dollar bill.
Oh my gosh, it's just, I never knew that. I have it upside down. Yes, I do believe that a star child comes in, and this is the first I've ever even thought about this, with a marking on them. And I believe it may not be the same with everybody, but I believe I bet everybody listening now is going like
The
this.
Masons did it. The star is the eye of the triangle. You ever see the
Triangle.
dollar bill? And
Yes.
it has an eye in
Well,
it?
there's another purpose to that too, actually.
What is that?
That would take about 4 shows.
But
Because I've been given
it's
a
all
lot of
it
information.
all relates.
It's all, yes, it is.
See,
The actual triangle is very important.
Yes, a triangle apparently has magical powers. That's why pyramids are that
Absolutely,
way.
and the eye in it is even more significant.
I heard
in a
that
lot of ways.
the secret to success is by taking everybody's energy, like we have 4. You're supposed to sit in a triangle to have the conversation. So Dawn will double up on one point. There'll be double somebody else
That would be
there,
very powerful.
and you have dialogue in a triangle.
It's a very powerful symbol, and I've never really mentioned this before, but it is. And when you see that, it's in the shape of a pyramid. The pyramids have a lot of secrets, and they're very, very powerful. Very powerful. Let's do the next show on this. Anybody that's listening, please
As a
tune in
pyramid.
next week, and we'll definitely do that. Yeah, it's important.
It enhances a lot of teachings from many, how you do peace, many years in the past.
And I do happen to know quite a lot about this. It's because I was extremely interested and would ask Aldo certain things. Again, I would ask him before he came forth with the information. So as much as I'm able to, I understand a lot of this.
Well, you
very-
got 2 minutes left. What's Aldo's message for today?
to talk about this subject next week because he trained me a lot on what this was all about. And I think that we're going to do that next
What
week.
are we doing next week?
We're going to talk about how powerful the triangle is, how powerful it is to talk about the aliens, to talk about the star seeds that are coming in. I believe that this is really a very, very important message. And for me to be able to do this on the air with, I'm only as good as the question that you ask me, but they will tune in. So tune in next week. We only have like 1 minute. 1 minute. So I'm going to say very, very quickly, please tune in next week. It's going to be a very, very powerful show. And here, once again, you'll see me traveling to different planets in this book. Okay, goodbye, everybody, for now. I'll see you next week. Thank you. Thank you, all. You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Bernard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you can always seek me out for resources by visiting artbysallybernard.com. Join us next week, Mondays at 2:30. Have a blessed day.